There is a lot of useless advice out there that just doesn't work. However, this does. Get ahead of your opposition. It really does work, so give it a try by checking out the link in the description below.
The question, how important is a cover letter in the hiring process? Answer by Stephen Q. Shannon. Warning, in the U.S., cover letters and resumes are irrevocably becoming tools of the past, especially those that are sent via USPS or other hard copy delivery services. If you get tangled up with a job board aggregator like ZipRecruiter, you will experience that the future is now. No attachments, no email, no printing of resumes, no phone calls. Your generic resume is all by itself, like a cold call in the night. Before you make your final decision about employing a so-called cover letter to accompany a generic resume, do yourself a favor and thoroughly research the care and feeding of how to transmit your accomplishments information to prospective employers. If you agree there's gotta be a better way of getting positive attention than laboring over generic, all about you, full-page cover letters and 1- and 2-page generic, all about you, resumes, do authentic research. Learn that spray and pray distribution of your information wastes your time, generates depression because no one replies, and cannot replace personal contact. Find out what professional job seekers do to ensure getting real interviews with real hiring officials who are actually empowered to say yes. Unless you have been recruited by a human resource department, HR, for a real-life job opening, avoid those hard-working, underpaid people. They are trained to screen you out. Immerse yourself in resources that have the background and experience to get you from point A to point B. It's vicious out there. Smart job hunters are those who have learned it is not all about them. They now know it's all about what the prospective hiring official wants, the who, how they want it supplied, when they want it supplied, and why they want it supplied. Translation: if you can solve their problems, prove it and win an old-fashioned interview. One approach no longer fits all employers. If the job seeker does not customize their verbal and written pitch to the needs of the person who can yes, that job seeker will experience a long, drawn-out job hunt. Ask yourself, what do professional recruiters do to drum up interest in the applicants they have on their list? Why is having a mouth and a fully charged cell phone more important than 1920s-style generic resumes and generic cover letters sent unsolicited to hundreds of employers? What does Fast Company magazine mean when they publish this powerful statement? Pursuing a career is not about finding a job, it's about building, nurturing, and working a personal network. Why do you suppose it's important to have a positive and high online identity easily available to 85% of professional recruiters? Begin by testing, for free, your current online ID calculator. Why do you suppose it is so important to have the names, company affiliation, titles, addresses, and contact numbers of new bosses way before starting your self-marketing campaign? For a low annual, tax-exempt subscription, not affiliated, to the following, might surprise you: sales leads, company info, industry analysis, Hoovers, not a vacuum company. Know who is your target boss before you apply. And before you apply, explore the hidden job market where the better paying jobs are hiding. Hoovers is one of several resources professional job seekers use. Do you think knowing how professional search firms, headhunters, operate and who pays them might be useful to you? If you agree, explore Ask the Headhunter, Nick Porcadillos, the insider's edge on job search and hiring. TM, you may not always agree with Nick, not affiliated, but you won't go away empty. That's a promise. There's more, if you are still with me, and if you plan to search for a better paying job like you mean it. Like so many other first-class contacts, I exclusively share with you in one answer. Much of what is offered here is for free, as in no charge. Another one of those resources is Executive Resume Writer, Mary Elizabeth Bradford, and http://www.SusanBrittonWhitcomb.com. Susan is a Corinth. You will be well served by seeking assistance from the following professional, for-profit career industry association, with whom my coach, Susan Britton Whitcomb, is associated, career thought leaders, whom you will experience a treasure trove of nationwide U.S. professional career advisors and multi-certified resume writers. Finally, you can't go wrong by learning how to determine how ethical employers treat you, the job applicant. With more than 20 years experience, part paid and part free, experience a premier professional community known as Career Roads. Final thoughts. No matter how hard we all try, you might encounter poor grammar and typos here. For that, I apologize. Especially if my errors prevent you from understanding what I am trying to share. Let me know where you think I have gone wrong by offering your comment. I will reply sooner than you might expect. I am here to assist, not to confuse or argue my point of view. With more than 24 years of experience assisting 4,000 one-on-one professional men and women like you, I consider it a privilege to share my thoughts with you. So read and absorb what you see here and then you decide. Yay or nay? Thanks. Stephen Q. Shannon, November 8, 2016. Answer by Kelly Wilkins. If you are hunting for a new job, you may have a good resume prepared. You have a list of good companies you have targeted to submit them to. However, the question remains to be answered is that how will you make a notable impression while introducing yourself to the employer? Many people think that a cover letter is not required, while others are confused about what should be included in the cover letter. If you have doubts regarding the cover letter, then the following article will help you clear those doubts and help you write a great cover letter, giving you that an edge. Here are some great cover letter examples for all kinds of jobs. Cover letter format. Download free business letter templates and forms. Is a cover letter required to go along with the resume? The answer is yes. Whether you are applying for a job by yourself or through a recruiter, the cover letter is one of the most essential prerequisites for a job application. In most cases, big companies recruit people in the hundreds every few months, and they have to go through thousands of applications and resumes. Also, there will be openings for different positions. So, it is important to mention the position that you are applying for. This can be achieved through a cover letter. A cover letter can be described as a statement of purpose. One objective of the cover letter is to highlight your strengths that are described in your resume. What does the job require? In addition to your specialized qualifications and skills, your work experience in different environments, coordination with different teams, and your experience in handling critical are qualities you ought to mention. All these capabilities can be mentioned in your cover letter. Your resume will list your educational background and your experience. Why you are successful in your given field is presented through your cover letter. For example, you have mentioned about handling the sales teams across the Asian subcontinent in your cover letter. Then the recruiter will automatically search for that experience in your resume and spend more time reading it keenly. Thus you can describe your important role more briefly in your cover letter. Recognize your prospective employer. This is one aspect which is important that most people are unaware of it. Individuals tend to focus too much on themselves. A recruiter is going to hire not because you possess specific qualities, they also look for character. One manner to exhibit that is to focus on the requirements of the employer. A good rule of thumb is to acknowledge them in your resume. Using the means to recognize the requirements of the employer and then moving gradually to mention their requirements, and describe your strengths and experience relevant to the position they are looking for. Let them know that you see yourself as a part of their team. You must describe that the combination of their company and your skills can bring great success to the company. You can stress on how your skills can bring hang or improvement in their process and products. You must describe in brief your skills and experience combined with the company's resources can bring out a turnaround or benefit them. Remember to do a thorough research about the company, their operations, their main line of business, and the role you will be playing in their company. Who is the cover letter addressed to? Whenever you write a cover letter, it should be addressed to a specific individual. In case you don't know the person, make time to find out to address it to the correct person. Ensure that the name of the concerned person is spelled correctly and his designation is mentioned appropriately. Does it match your resume? This information may be in your resume. The cover letter highlights important achievements or skills you possess. The other benefit of the cover letter is it provides personal insight about your competency and personality. Can I use the same cover letter again for another company? This may take you less time and effort, but it is certainly not the right thing to do. As mentioned above, the fact that you possess some skills is not the only thing, but they should also match with the requirements of the company. So, it is recommended to highlight those skills which are relevant to the company you applying with and modify your cover letter accordingly. It should not take a lot of time tailoring your cover letter correctly. A well-written cover letter shows your discipline and genuine interest in being associated with the company. How to conclude? A cover letter is a call to action, whether from your side or theirs. For example, you can write that you would be looking forward to their positive response, or you may also ask them for a reply over the phone. However, you may write anything that you may like, but don't forget this part of the letter. Review: you have to go through the entire letter once again. There should be no room for error in your resume. It should be the same with your cover letter. You may ask someone else to take a read through the entire letter, and a spell check is a must as recommended. Email cover letters. though you have to include all the above points, but in such a way that it remains short. All the highlights and key points of your skills must be completed in 2 to 3 sentences. But you must always make sure that you are writing the cover letter in the context of the job opening. Don't be too creative with the font size and font style. Just keep the font size simply to 10 and the font style as Arial. You may break the content in 2 or 3 paragraphs depending upon the content. In an email cover letter, the subject line becomes very important. So, try to write a good subject line which highlights your profile and makes it very clear about the position that you are applying for. If you can keep the subject line short and simple, that will be an added advantage, maintaining a certain image, although it is important to highlight your abilities and showcase your skills, but at the same time it is also very important that the letter depicts your personality. Don't try to sound more aggressive of a person if you are more of a simple and soft-natured. Also make sure that you are not sounding like a salesman who is desperate to sell his wares. Be enthusiastic but don't overdo it. Just remember, if your cover letter is not up to the mark, then there are more chances that the recruiter may not open the much important attachment, i.e., your resume. This means you may not even get a chance to demonstrate your skills to the recruiter even though you are fit for the opening. If you don't include a cover letter in the first place itself, then the chances of not opening the attachment increases further. The cover letter has one added benefit. If by the time your resume reached the recruiter, they had already shortlisted someone else, then while sending the reply, "Thank you for the interest but the vacancy is filled," your application will get saved in their minds and your resume in their database, and they will surely consider your resume in the future openings of the company. This gives you an extra chance that you will need while searching for a new job in the future. Answer by Diane Mendez. In the age of the digital recruiting, do cover letters matter anymore? The short answer, yes. Surprising to some, they matter more now than ever. Try this free cover letter video for the serious job seeker. In fact, a Robert Half poll found that 90% of executives consider cover letters a valuable tool when assessing job candidates. Yet, far too often, job seekers treat them as afterthoughts to the resume. Here are some tips for writing the kind of cover letter that helps your resume leap to the top of the pile, one that convinces hiring managers and HR professionals to bring you in for an interview. A strong cover letter should do much more than just restate salient details from your resume. Here's a brief checklist of important functions of a cover letter. Just as we recommend for the resume, take the time to target your cover letter to the job at hand. Write a cover letter they can't ignore. Begin by carefully reviewing the job description, making a list of your specific skills and experience key that match this particular role. Besides highlighting your talents, you can further personalize your cover letter by demonstrating your familiarity with the specific industry, employer and type of position. Remember, your future employer doesn't just want a warm body. They want employees who love their work. They know these are the people who tend to perform better, serve as stronger team members, and have greater potential to grow along with the business. Just as you personalize your resume to the role, you should also address the cover letter to the person actually hiring for the position. If it is not spelled out in the job posting, call the employer's main phone number and ask for the name and title of the hiring manager. There is no need to waste time rehashing your entire resume. Instead, lead off strong by highlighting 1 or 2 convincing details from your work history, including as a few facts and figures to bolster your case. Once you're convinced you have made a strong argument for your candidacy, it's time to proofread your work. No hiring manager wants to see a great cover letter with typos and grammatical errors.